Welcome to Health, Wealth, and Relationships.
Welcome to Health, Wealth, and Relationships.
Get ready for Miami's most insightful podcast.
Hey.
Come on.
You know where we're at? We're not in Jamaica, but we are in the MIA.
Miami.
What? My second hometown. You know, Omaha's my first hometown, but I spent 30 years in Miami. We are at the Margaritaville. You know it's 5 o'clock somewhere, right?
Oh, that's right.
What? So,
See that without moving?
oh.
We got to take it. No messy, no messy.
Little. Just a
There you
little.
go. We'll
Thank
have
you.
to. We'll have to. So, from Margaritaville in Miami, Florida, it's appropriate that we talk about our today's topic. Today's topic is stress
Yes. And de-stress.
and de-stress, which we're doing, right? So when you got busy lives like we've been doing, this is our 20th episode, though, I think.
It is. It is 20. We're 20 in.
That's a lot.
2025.
We started this journey December 2025.
Yeah, right around the holidays. We got it going. This is obviously Tissa's great idea, her brainchild. I said, no, let's do this. You know what? People don't know the show is international. I have a lot of international people I'm connected to. I'm big on LinkedIn. Everybody in Africa, a lot of Nigeria, Ghana, London, England, Pakistan, and then in the Caribbean, the St. Croix, we're a thing, but you don't even realize that. So we're not just in Omaha, Nebraska. We're not just in Miami, Florida. We are international, and we're coming to you with that international flavor today. But we're going to talk about stress.
Stress
And de-stress.
and de-stress.
You got to de-stress, right?
Right. So stress isn't just something you experience. Stress is something you feel, and really stress dictates your whole life, right? So it's not something that you just experience. It's something that you become.
Right.
That kind of
Right.
that's a deep statement.
That's
Stress,
a
you
very
become
deep statement.
stressed.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So when you people saying you're stressed, that means you are stressed, right? You're not stressed. That means you're exhibiting stressful behaviors. It's in your body. It lives. Stress lives in your body.
You know, I'm telling you,
That's where it lives.
this is what tripped me out. You know, she does a lot of research on a lot of our shows, and she showed me this information. She said stress, as she said, lives in the body, but 75% to 90% of doctor visits are stress related.
Stress related. Say that again.
75 to 90% of doctor visits are stress related. Let that sink in.
Yeah. Well, that just basically means the majority of things we go to the doctor for is got something to do with some level of stress. And that's because stress lives in our body. And there's no way around it. There's no way to avoid stress. Life be lifing.
Life be life.
Life be lifing. And so it's really how you cope with your stress.
That's right.
But I want you to realize that stress lives in your body. So things to look out for is, headaches, tension in your muscles,
Yeah, let that roll out.
lack of sleep, tension in your muscles.
Hey,
Lack of sleep, right?
tossing and turning.
Tossing and turning. You got to, and that's me. Most of my stress is up here. Like, I can't go to sleep. I'm tossing and turning because I got shit on my mind, right? So one of those things we can do is do a dump. But what other ways if you feel stress in your
Well,
body?
let's get real with it. Like, everyone knows, Tissa's been doing her stress for the cure 9-10 years. She's been doing it strong. But she stresses before every show. Some of
Every
that's normal.
event, I stress before every year. I stress before the pancake feed. I stress before, if we're just getting something together. I stress even for the support group stuff. I'm an event planner, but I'm not an event planner. So I have to become an event planner until such a time as I can afford to hire an event planner. Is it. Right.
And so you exhibit some of these behaviors, the sleeping or lack of sleep.
Lack of sleep for me.
Right.
Absolutely.
And then,
tension in my shoulders.
Yep.
You also need to find out where your stress high. Like for me, it's this area right here.
Okay.
The back of the shoulder, right in between the shoulder blades.
shoulder blades.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And so when I get a massage, like, look, my spot is the shoulder blade, deep. I need a deep tissue right
deep
there.
tissue. Now we
What
know.
is your stress high?
Well, stress for me, it starts in my stomach. I feel it in my stomach. If I'm going to do a talk or something or the night before, my thing is, if I am not fully prepared or someone in my mind thinks I'm not fully prepared for the moment that I'm about to engage in, I am going to start feeling anxiety. I'm going to start feeling, I need to study. I get out of whack. But once I've rehearsed, I feel like I know my content. It's not like you know things word for word. You just got to be in the zone about what you're talking about. I de-stress at that point. But I have to listen to me. I have to listen to my body. If I'm feeling stressed, if I'm feeling anxiety, over too much anxiety, that means I'm not prepared.
So stop overthinking. So
Yeah.
be prepared helps you de-stress the stress of overthinking.
Yes, it does.
Because it sends you into modes. You can be overthinking, you can be procrastinating.
Yep.
Some people can't move forward when they're stressed. It's like, you know what, I know I got a whole bunch of shit to do, and that itself is overwhelming.
Yes,
so they can't move forward. So they procrastinate till it's last minute, which even makes it more stressful.
Oh.
Right? So they're
Right.
like, I'm not gonna do it, I can't get to it, I can't move forward. The opposite of that is overworking. People stress to the point where I have to do it. I stay up all night. I have to get this report in to the point where now that it's come this time, you're overworked, you're tired.
And if you're listening to this, you probably already know, like, you know what? I feel like I need to breathe. Because that's what you got to do. Take some deep breaths. Now, I know that my co-host over here, she does a lot of this. Now, Tisa, when you wake up in the morning, you've had a stressful night. You've been tossing and turning, thinking about your event, but tell us about your breath work that you do.
Well, I do breath work at night too, because again, my overthinking, I need to get my mind ready to sleep. Sleep is very important, and like I said, I'll stay up all night. So breath work is just breathing slowly, right? So a good practice, and breath work needs practice, right? So 4 up, 4 down. Let's try it together.
Okay.
4 up.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4 out. 1, 2, 3, 4. And just keep doing that. 4 up, 4 down. And you'll see your body will relax, your head will relax, and you'll just
I like that.
oxygen feeds the body and it stresses.
I feel better already.
Yeah, just breathing. And that could happen when you're a coworker or somebody you just want to slap. No, just you're at work and you just be like, this. I am so blessed to be retired. I needed to retire because I was starting to snap at people. So that's another sign. It's not it's hot to your body, but you might become a little irritated, right? You stressed out, you're snapping at folks, So know that those are signs, and people kind of exhibit it differently.
Yeah.
For me, it's lack of sleep, but I do be snapping. So I was told the other day, when I get into my zone about my events, I can become such a little biatch.
True.
Honest feedback.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if I like that or not. But basically,
You gotta know.
because it stresses me. Nobody knows these events stresses me. And I got to coordinate like 20, 30 people, right?
That's a
So our
lot
show
right
is
there.
coming up. And I'm
Yeah.
just going to tell y'all now, those are in the show. I'm sorry for snapping.
We're
I'm apologizing ahead of
we're
time.
de-stressing. She's going to come back unwound.
That's right.
Right?
Because this is it. You have to have these downtimes, right? This is lovely. And I have been de-stressing the whole time I've been here. We've been on the beach. We're sightseeing. You got to get out of the rat.
Big shout out to Class, CLASS. Class is a black-owned restaurant right in Hollywood, Florida. It is a vibe.
It's so cute. It's a very intimate spot. What is it? 15, 20 seats
That's
in
it.
there.
If that. If
Lovely.
that.
I posted some pictures. But it's very elegant dining if you want to at Bacon Elegant, or you can play it kind of casual. We met with some friends, his friends.
Good friends. But tell them about the dish you ordered. You cannot order this anywhere. Because she ordered, was it 3 proteins? What?
Well, I ordered a stuffed roasted chicken with crab meat and something in it. Lobster and crab. Lobster and crab stuffing.
Yeah.
Oh, it was delicious. And what you have?
Oh, I had to have that sea bass. Right?
Sea bass. Oh, it was.
It was. Oh my God! It just melted.
I love it that we're by water
melted.
because I'm all about that seafood and
sea
fish.
bass.
We're in Miami. What everything.
But then she had to have some dessert, right? She had to have this beautiful dessert. You got to go check out her picture. She has it on her Facebook. But you get to see this is elegant, but this is black owned. It's not. I mean, you're gonna spend the same way, but this is gonna give you a whole higher level experience, right?
We met the owner and a de-stressor. We met the owner, nice guy. Yeah. We might put some stuff up on him. If you're in Miami,
we're gonna give her a nice review. Beautiful review.
Looking for black owned.
Beautiful review. But we're talking about, so if you do these things, you got to release your tension. This is how we're releasing tension right now. You work all year. We've been known about, we're going to our Jamaican class of 81 reunion. We had to do a little stop in Miami, and then we go to Jamaica, then we come back. You know, and that really makes it a longer trip, but you don't feel like you need a vacation from the vacation. This is our pre-vacation to the vacation and then a post-vacation. How about that?
Hallelujah. So some of the de-stressing besides breathing, walk and move. So I like to dance, and so I would say, if you take my baby, I'm like, you know, when you have those down times, let's just say dance like nobody's watching.
Right.
That is such a de-stressor for me. If you like to dance, but it's just your natural move. Just put your favorite song on and just rock out like ain't nobody watching.
We did that this morning. We were vibing. I'm gonna tell you, we were. You know, and a lot of times on our show, we always end with that, right? Right. You gotta eat right and
move.
Right.
Yeah.
But do those things. We know there's stress. If you just heard, 75 to 90% of doctor visits comes from stress. That means you're not de-stressing. And we're not saying you're not gonna have stress, but you've got to let it go.
You gotta let it
You
go.
gotta find a way to let it go because it will affect your wealth, right?
Yeah.
So
And
on the
before we
wealth
move
guide-
into wealth,
Yeah.
I want you to stretch. I want people to remember to stretch. Stretching is another life besides walking and breathing. I stretch, and so as you get older, your bones get more brittle, and people, you ever notice people start humping over? That's because they're not keeping their body along and they're not stretching that spine. You need to keep your spine stretched. So stretch before we move into wealth. Breathe, move, stretch.
Breathe. Takeaways, right? Breathe, move, stretch. Okay, so I love that. I like that. I like that.
Now, you tell me, Mr.
Well-
Wealth, how does it affect your wealth?
So
I mean,
think through this. A lot of people, everybody knows that money, I don't care how much money or how little money, it's a stressor. Because you always have to be able
don't have
to
enough
produce.
of it.
You don't even have enough. You know you're going to need to have a certain amount in a certain period of time.
and if you have too much, it's more money, more problems.
More money, more
I'm
problems.
sorry.
No, you did not. She had to throw that out because it's true. It's very true. You ask anyone, you run a business, you have to make payroll, you got to pay vendors. There's a lot, and you don't always have it on time. You don't always have a cushion. All those things are stresses, right? You're feeling that. You don't know because you depend on other people a lot of times to help you to either like to run your life, run your household, and run your business. And all these things are very, very important. And so you think about what people typically do when they're stressing, they get out of balance and they start overspending, spending on things they didn't budget for, spending on things that really
I
wasn't
know,
part of the
but it's
plan.
called shop therapy. No, really, like for us, like we're like, look, I'm stressed, let me go shopping. But actually, when you spend money when you're stressed, especially if it's unannounced, unbudgeted, and all of that, it
That's
causes
it.
you more stress later.
That's it. You should have I'm not saying don't shop. What I'm saying is responsible shop. You
And
don't do
recognize
things
if it's
out
a,
of
if it's
that.
a stress reliever. Like
Yeah.
shopping is a stress reliever for me. That's why I'm a big thrifter, right? It lets me de-stress on my shopping, but I don't have to spend a lot of money.
I like that about Tisa, right? So one of the things
I'm
we
frugal.
did, we came here and I had to take her to the swap shop.
Man,
It
take me
was
to a
huge.
swap meet.
Swap meet. She was like, "Oh my god, it has driving theaters there, like 4 or 5 different
Oh, yeah.
screens. It had just a humongous lot of just nothing but scripters, and you can spend from high to low. It doesn't mean it's lower
Yeah, I love
quality.
watching
It's
swap
just
meets.
everywhere.
I love a
Everywhere.
swap meet. I love a good swap meet, a good whatever they call them, flea markets,
Flea market.
flea market swap
Right,
meets. I love them. I want to make sure we get one of them.
But the key thing she said, she's not stressing about the money she's spending.
No.
She likes to spend.
going there with a budget.
It's a de-stressor. She might spend $20, $30 and come out with a bunch of stuff.
But the stress reliever is shopping, is shop therapy, and it helps,
Stop there.
but it keeps it all in perspective.
Right.
Right?
Right. So you're not putting yourself in debt because we know that's a big time stress. Every month that you go through a month of not dealing with your finances or avoiding your finances, you're not looking at it realistically.
Now, these are signs.
Big sign.
These are signs.
Big
Impulsive spending, meaning you just like you went online and you just bought $1,000 worth of stuff off the team. That's an impulsive spend. I ain't never did that, y'all.
Some people do.
I ain't never did 1,000.
They do. They're
But I do
shopaholics.
go. I have impulsive spend on Tina.
But
Yeah,
again,
those are good signs.
it's about responsibility, and then you have to be accountable for your finances. Be accountable. I think when you start taking responsibility for your finances, you will de-stress. You're like, okay, I see the problem. I know where I'm at. I can make some decisions, and that's going to de-stress you.
Right.
Right. So burnout, man, burnout. If you're burnout, working, you're burnout, you just, I can't do that one more thing. How does that affect your income from a stress situation, right? The because to your point, it's really about balance and harmony. If you find yourself out of balance, you don't have any harmony in what you're doing, and you're just losing energy in the things that used to give you joy, and now you're not having that joy.
Yeah.
These are points of stress. That what are you doing to de-stress? Maybe life is telling you to change something in your habits or what you're doing. Try something different. Let's move out of what's causing you pain and start moving into something that's creating some pleasure, some happiness for you intentionally.
Intentionally. I think when it comes to finances, you do. It stresses you out more when you neglect them and we don't know your balance. So some of the things we
Right.
We got stuff. Hello, we're back. I don't know. Did we pop
We
up?
popped out, but we popped back in.
Okay.
That's what we do.
So we pop it out and pop it in. So some takeaways from your wealth is just make sure you do a 15-minute financial check-in.
Yeah. You've got to do the check-ins. Look at don't avoid your finances. Understand if you're living in a world of credit, it's okay to have credit and use credit, but pay those bills off. That's going to stress you out
when it comes to
starts
credit.
adding up.
Pay more than the minimum balance. That's what I can say about
All of
credit.
those things are going to add up over time, and it's going to stress you out, and you're not going to feel good about doing things that actually bring you joy. So I think it's very important. If you start adding all these things up from the wealth world, right? Now the health world, like I say, and then the wealth world, and we want to talk about those key takeaways in the world of wealth. 15 minutes. That's all it takes. Everybody likes to do their taxes now. So they should have did a money check-in already. But not just from a tax. Take a look at that, right? Just take a look at what you're doing. Pause before you spend and see if there's something that's really, really necessary. Then automate a lot of things that you're doing so that extra money you have.
Yes, automate your payments, right? Because that's going to keep you out of that rat race of paying a late fee.
Yep.
And then you're off things, your credit score goes down. So what I've learned is, you know when you get paid, go ahead and get those bills automated so you will never run late. They can never charge you those late fees because that's the rat game. That's the game that's got you like all wrapped up, right? So, but if you do it right, it could raise your credit, right? Having those automatic payments. Again, be proactive about your wealth, right?
Be proactive and be mature about it. Understand the game that you're playing.
Pay your bills first.
And play to win. Play to win in the wealth world, right? Yep. So again, key takeaways: automate your bills. You want to pause before you spend, and you want to do a weekly check-in, 15 minutes. If you're doing this every week, it's not going to take a long time, but take a look and then plan ahead. We've been planning ahead for almost a year about this Jamaica trip. So it's not like it's something that was spontaneous. It was something that was planned. It was budgeted for, and now we're having a good time.
Hey, the shenanigans have begun.
And it's your birthday.
It's my birthday weekend.
So her birthday is the 27th of April. My birthday was on March 26th. We kind of combined those two realities and those two milestones. 63 from 1963, celebrating 1981 class of reunion from Omaha, Nebraska. I'm loving it. So talk to us about our relationships.
Okay, so we got to take away from that.
Yes, we
relationships. So y'all know stress affects relationships. If you live with somebody, even if you don't have a partner, it affects your relationship with your kids, your mother, your teachers, your everybody, right? Because we just lives in us, so we can't get rid of it. We can't say, "Ooh, I'm gonna move this aside for this situation," or in between. It affects everything. So stress definitely links into your relationship, right? If you're stressed, it's gonna affect how you talk to your partner or even my kids. Even my son. Man, when I'm stressed, I'm snappy. Look, that's how I do it. I get real snappy. And so my son knows when I get snappy, she's stressing, and like back off, mom's stressing. And again, it only used to come to me around events and stuff like that. It's a good thing.
Get extra space, and what you said, because it affects more than just yourself. So look outside of yourself, see what's going on. Start watching your life as a movie. What was my role in that? So how did I get myself into that frame of mind, right?
Yeah, because some people don't know how to de-stress. So you might be irritable all the time. You might be like, I got a bitchy partner, but they never learn how to, like when that builds up, they don't know how to de-stress, right? So they stay irritable. Irritability is a major sign. Miscommunication. When you're stressed, there's no communication usually, right? You're stressed is usually not all the communication, so miscommunication, and just emotional withdrawal.
That's
some
a big
people
time.
Operate like that. Like I'm stressed, don't talk to me.
Yeah, they shut down. They withdraw. You don't really know what's
what's going on.
You see the effects.
You know that they're stressed, but that's just a symptom that they don't know how to, again, navigate.
Yeah.
And so when you see your partner or somebody that you live with, even work people, just kind of give them some grace. They might be a little stressed.
You got to know your triggers. If you've been hearing about what TC's saying, she has triggers. If you understand that trigger and you're with her, and you know she's going through an event, I said,
you know when you know.
She's getting a little short. That's a trigger. But if I also know that, I would work on, all right, what can we do to de-stress that?
Right.
You know,
don't trigger me.
Don't. Yeah. Don't. No, you can't get away from events. Can't get away from events. But you start to see what's happening. Let's help her to de-stress.
And say breathe, bitch. Say breathe, Keisha. Count up 4. You're looking stressed. If you sounded like you're a little stressed, a little miscommunicated, a little snappy,
yep.
I'm gonna say breathe. And I try to say, look, I try to tell myself, because I know when I get snappy, you know what I'm saying?
But I'm that person. I withdraw. I'm not sharing why I'm stressing. Maybe I haven't communicated it to myself of why I'm stressing. But I'm starting to understand. I usually stress on things that I'm, again, not prepared for. If I'm not prepared to pay some bills, I'm stressed. If I'm not prepared to do an event, or if I'm not
and
prepared
that's
to be on
most of us,
stage,
right?
I'm going to stress.
Be proactive about the bills, right?
Right.
And another thing we're talking about, it lives in your mind. Like, I need to just write it down. Some of those tips I didn't give you was like, if you live in your head like I do and you can't sleep, a tip I do is I get up 3 or 4 in the morning, whatever it is, and I just write the list out. What am I thinking about? What I got to do? So I write the list out. Check that off. And, someone in the morning, I dumped it. You got to do a brain dump.
Yeah.
They call it a brain dump.
I like that.
Do a brain dump of all the things you have to do. Write it down so it's like out of your head, through your fingers, on some paper, and pray about it. For me, I have to literally let God let it go. I say a prayer of peace, and it's like, God, I'm turning it over to you. I can't do nothing about it over these next 8 hours, so please let me rest, rejuvenate, and get back to it. But at least when I write it down, I won't forget it. I'll get to it, and I'll check it off the list so it won't bother me the next night. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, what you're bringing up, for me, a de-stressor is when I wake up in the morning, I'm going to look for some natural sounds. Like one of the things we did here, I was so teaching, we will listen to the sound of the ocean. The ocean has its own voice. The wind has its own voice. That voice is millions of years old.
Right.
And it will de-stress you. You want to get into harmony with that voice.
They say lean into the sound.
Lean into it. Let it just soothe that. It's not a man-made sound.
Breathe. And listen.
I like that. Say that again.
Breathe and listen and let it flow through you. Like close your eyes and let it flow through you. That's energy. That's positive energy. That's good energy. People, I live on energy. I live on your vibe, your energy, because you feel everything. Your body
what
really
you did,
does.
You named it. You gave it a name, but now you de-stressed it. I like how you said that about the sounds. There's all kinds but man-made sounds can be stressful. They carry a lot of friction. Where natural sounds, nature sounds,
water,
like birds, water, and you can do this anywhere. So,
the storm. People like to sleep in the storm.
Quiet storm.
You know why we sleep so well in the storm? It's a natural sound, but it's also like the tranquilizer. The sounds of the hard rain, even thunder in the background. All those natural sounds are really soothing. They put you to sleep.
Yeah.
And when it rains, I sleep.
Yeah.
I sleep good when it rains.
I would do the same thing because it is a tranquilizing effect.
It's tranquilizing.
And I'm going to, no matter what I'm going through, I will be able to address it because there's external stress.
Yeah.
And then there's internal stress. We can manage internal stress.
You can manage it.
Right?
And you can manage external stress by starting inside, that breathing, that positive. And then, but you can let go of all this external stuff. Put yourself in a quiet place. We're talking about meditation. You just want to be in a quiet place, not around the elements, but you can have these sounds going on in your quiet place. You can just listen to the sound. You ain't got to think about nothing. Just listen and breathe. And
pause. I know when that trigger happens, whatever it may be, before you respond, and a lot of times if you're stressed, you're going to respond emotionally. You're going to have some anger in there. It's going to be some discomfort. But if you train yourself, this is the training exercise. You have to pause. Give yourself some grace.
Right.
Just pause.
Before it comes out. And you got to recognize. You got to recognize those times when you're stressed. You got to be like, look, I already know I'm a little. So take a break and feel the person. It's not you, it's me. I mean, recognize it and just call it what it is. I'm stressed.
Yep.
I'm not really mad at you.
Right.
But I might be a little snappy. I might be a little short, but I want you to recognize I am stressed. You know it, I know it. We can both work together on that, right? I can breathe. You can recognize. Don't take it personally, right? You probably don't take it personally. Just be honest and open about it.
I love
we
that
all go through it.
100% accountability. You owned it.
Yep.
You talked about it. But that's choosing connection over being right. choosing
Don't let the stress
connection.
cause you a big old argument.
Men. Choose connection over being right.
That's for women too.
Thank you.
It ain't even about that. Just
Thank you.
recognize it's not them, it's not the situation, it's just stress. And
Yeah.
stress speaks and it comes out through you.
So you have a de-stress toolkit, right? You have a toolkit, and we have to put it into practice. These things are not about listening to it. I know you hear me and T give a lot of these tips, but until you do these things,
just practice.
it has no power. It has no.
Practice
It's not going to
breathing.
change anything, right? Right. So give us, what is your de-stress toolkit?
First thing is you gotta breathe. That starts off everything. That just lowers your temperature in your body. It makes you take that pause because you're breathing. It makes you think about something else. Like if you think about the forward count and forward, it takes it off of whatever you're stressing on. It's like, oh, now all you're doing is concentrating on the breath work. And you concentrate on the forward count. And so it's removing it. It's like a switch. Like take that out of your brain, put this in your brain, right? That mind dump, like I do, write it down. If you can't go sleep, get up, write it down, pray on it, and go back to sleep. Like I handle it. Ain't nothing you can do
I've heard
overnight.
about journaling. Some people journal.
Some people journal.
They'll just write out a mess. That doesn't be perfect. It's just getting the stressful, the event, the experience out of you and on paper. If that's what it is, or speak, you can record it. You can speak it into a device, your mobile device. Get it out. Right?
Set some boundaries. When it comes to setting boundaries, you got to just make sure, if you know Susie at work pisses you off, avoid her during your stressful times. Because Susie might get it, right? Saying, you know what I'm saying? You in a mode, such a mode, it'd be like, girl, she can get it today. That's your stress talking. And that's just saying, you know what? She might be the dump I dump on.
Whoa,
and so
whoa,
I said,
whoa.
know the boundaries, know what's stressing you, know your triggers, And if you haven't did that breath work, just kind of be aware. This is all self-awareness, right?
Like
it's all self-awareness.
I like that.
And just be still.
Remember that stress and de-stress, the being, like we're talking about quiet storm. Before you wake up, usually when you wake up in the morning, there's no phone calls, there's no emails, nobody knocking at the door. You have moments of silence. So you don't have to just get out, put your phone, take a shower, all that. Be still. Be still for at least, I do it for 20 minutes. I'm going to be still for 20 minutes. I'm going to put my concentration on these sacred sounds. I like sacred
Sometimes
sounds.
you might not even have 20 minutes. That's a lot. But if you
I do.
schedule it in. It's
Maybe
just
start at
as
5,
important.
go to 10, maybe 15. But
And
take
if
time for yourself.
Take time. Even if it's 5 minutes of breathing, that'll set the tone of your day, right? And if Susie get up in your face, go to the bathroom, because you can always breathe. Breathe in, breathe out. That's your biggest tool that you carry every day, that you do every day.
And I go back, so if I get into a situation and I'm seeing it's escalating from an emotional standpoint, I'm feeling some stress, I go back to that morning time. I can recall it, and it'll lower my temperature, it'll lower my heart rate, right? I'm not going to be sweaty. I'm not going to have anxiety, because there's a lot of physical things that your body does when it's stressed, right? I've heard people lose their hair because of stress, right?
People do lose their hair because of stress. Yeah, stress is a killer. Stress is a real killer. Like I said, if it lives in your body and if it takes over your body, it can literally start shutting down things. So just realize the importance of recognizing stress, knowing what stress is to you, knowing what it looks like, knowing where it lives.
Knowing where it lives.
Know where it lives.
And it's okay to have it. You said you don't eliminate it.
You can get rid of stress.
It's there.
It's nowhere around it. But it's about managing it.
Managing stress. I like that.
Know what's there and learn ways to manage it.
Remember what I said about, if you don't think about stress as like there's an opportunity to de-stress. So if you're prepared and you know if there's an opportunity to de-stress, that's going to get you to manage the moment.
And know it's coming.
Yeah.
And have a plan. If you get stressed, what do you do? So that's practicing these things, seeing what works. Breathing really worked for me.
Let me give you a real life example. Real life example happened today, right? So we had to prepay our parking for our Airbnb. So I did all that. Prepaid the parking, did the whole app, and got it done. I come out today and I see 2 tickets.
Not one.
2 tickets on my car saying, "Oh, well, not giving the ticket. You have to pay unless you can prove you paid." Now I have paid. I can prove it. I just don't want to go through that whole process. It's a rental car. I got to take care of it. So I'm a little stressed, but I'm like, you know what? I have paid. I'm going to de-stress that situation. I can only do what I can do. And I'm going to step back from that because we're doing health, wealth, and
relationships with Tisa
and Grant. So I hope you enjoyed the show today.
We've been look, the shenanigans keeps being
What?
My birthday's coming up, y'all.
Miami Vice time. Whoa. All right.
Cheers to good health and de-stress.
De-stress, be good, be safe. Love everybody. Hope to see most of my friends that I went to school with. And we're gonna come to you from Jamaica next show. So prepare for that. All right. Bye-bye.
Imagine waking up with more energy, a peaceful mind, and relationships that grow stronger every day. That is the vision Tisa Harden and Grant McGaw want to help you achieve, and it all starts with simple, practical steps you can take this week. On Health, Wealth, and Relationships, every episode brings you real stories and trusted experts. Tisa and Grant focus on 3 tactical steps each week. Small, doable moves that protect your health, grow your savings, and bring you closer to the people you love. No complicated rules, just real progress. Try a clinic-to-kitchen swap to boost your energy. Start a money buffer habit that quietly builds your financial confidence. Or try a 1-minute exercise that helps you reconnect with your partner. These quick wins are not chores. They are steps toward a better life. People who try just one intentional step report more energy, less money stress, and evenings full of laughter again. Join Tisa and Grant. Start small, live bigger. Tune in every Thursday at 10 a.m. on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and subscribe now.